Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the favorite game show of the Capitol. It's called Let's Play Legislator. We'd like to welcome everyone to the morning conference committee. Katie, could you please take the roll? Here.
A vote by designation. Vote by designation. Here.
Here. Here.
Vote by designation.
Here. Vote by designation.
Here.
Vote by designation. 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 Thank you. The first bill that we'd like to call up this morning will be HB 2196. And Derek, could you give us a brief description?
Absolutely. Good morning, members. House Bill 2196, sponsored by Chairman Conklin, establishes the Contract Automatic Renewal Act and establishes consumer protections for automatic contract renewals.
I'd like a motion by Representative Rabs, seconded by Representative Perry. We have one amendment on that bill. It'll be Amendment 04461. Could you give us a brief description?
Yes, Amendment A04461, sponsored by Chairman Conklin, makes technical updates to improve the bill and adds additional exemptions for the utility, insurance, and banking industry.
I'd like a motion to bring the amendment forward. So move. You have Representative Bellman? Second by Representative Bellman. Is there any discussion on the amendment? No discussion on the amendment? Do we need a roll call vote? Or, Chairman, do you have a outstanding analysis of the votes? Seeing no negative votes, the amendment passes unanimously. With the, I'd like a motion to bring up the amendment as the bill as amended, HB 2196. The motion will be made by Perry this time, seconded by Representative Rapp. Do we have any questions, comments on the bill as amended? I'll just give a quick overview of why we brought this bill forward. I came across a situation recently of a 20-year-old contract. And basically, it was a 20-year-old contract on a service contract where the vendor that was the holder of the contract was a 4-year automatic renewal. Well, the problem came into is for a security system. Well, the problem came into that the company that owned the contract had sold the business out to a national company. And the individuals that wanted the security system put in would never have done business with the national company that had taken over. So when they had no idea that the company had sold out, they were not informed of it. They had great distaste for the company that purchased out because of their record of not being consumer friendly. They found out when they called the national company to have a repair done, the national company told them that they don't do repairs. When they asked them how to change their security system, the buttons, the company said they will not send anybody out. When they asked them how they could do that, they told them it'll be a $25 fee for you to change your security yourself. The consumer asked them, well, I'd like to end the contract, and they said, you have 2 years left in your contract. If you wish to end your contract, it's a $500 buyout. So it was so bad that the consumer actually paid the $500 buyout just so that they could get a security company back in again to actually monitor their security system again. And that's why it's so narrowly done. It's basically, that's why the amendment was put in. All we wanted to do was to give the consumer the ability, and all it says is that if you buy a company out from another company, the consumer must be notified. and given the option if they still wish to do service with you. That was basically the crust behind this bill. With that, do we need a roll call vote? Yeah. Katie, please take the roll.
No. No by designation. No by designation.
No.
No.
No. No. No by designation.
Yes. Yes by designation.
Yes.
Yes by designation. 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 Waxman is virtual, but the rules say that I must vote him by designation. So Waxman is yes by designation. And thank you for joining us, Representative Waxman. Next on the agenda will be 2132. That will be the daily bill. Could you give us a brief description?
Yes. House Bill 2132, sponsored by Chairwoman Daley, amends Title 12, Commerce and Trade by establishing the Pennsylvania-Ireland Trade Commission and the account for the commission. The bill further outlines guidelines for the account, membership requirements, and duties and powers of the commission.
Thank you, Indira. May we have a motion to bring the bill forward? Bellman, who makes the motion, seconded by Sapita Fertiz. With that, with the motion brought forward, we also have an amendment on the bill. The amendment will be 04225, Conklin Amendment. Could you please give us a brief description?
Yes, Amendment A04225, sponsored by Chairman Conklin, makes technical changes, updates definition, and provides clarity regarding membership appointments on the commission.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to bring the amendment forward? I guess Representative Warren's going to bring it forward, and Representative Rabb will second that. Do we have any discussion on the amendment? Seeing no discussion, do we have any negative votes? Oh. Seeing no negative votes, the amendment passes unanimously. Now, may we have a motion to bring up the daily bill, HB 2132. Cesar Fortis brings it up, seconded by Representative Rapp. And Representative Daley, could you please come forward and give us a brief description of the bill as amended?
So I'm hoping your executive director is also going to fill in any gaps that I might leave out. This bill has been introduced by me and Representative Tim O'Neill. We are both co-chairs of the Irish American Caucus. There's a similar bill being introduced that was introduced over in the Senate by Senators Robinson and Carney. I learned about this through the Irish American Caucus, which has now spread out across the entire country so that a lot of states are forming them. And New Jersey and West Virginia have already established theirs and are starting to pull them together. So being neighbors of both New Jersey and West Virginia, it seemed reasonable that Pennsylvania should have one also because we're neighbors. We border them, and each state can, go that way. So, I mean, it's based on the fact also that Pennsylvania has a rich history of innovation, industriousness, and cultural diversity. And by establishing a trade commission specifically focused on Ireland, we can tap into the unique opportunities that the partnership presents. Ireland, known for its robust economy and advanced technology sector, offers a gateway for Pennsylvania businesses to expand their reach and increase their competitiveness on the global stage. Strengthening our ties with Ireland can help enhance cultural and educational exchanges, enriching our communities and fostering a greater understanding between our citizenries. This can lead to more student exchange programs, joint academic ventures, and cultural festivals that celebrate our shared heritage. DCED already has a program, but we have been in discussion with them, and they thought their feedback to us would that this would amplify what they're already doing with Ireland. And we also have a number of chambers of commerce in Philadelphia and in Pittsburgh area that are very active, and they are all supportive of this, as well as the Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce. So we're excited about it because I think it really opens doors, and I think that it's a good bill, and I'm hoping that you will all support it.
Thank you, Representative Daly. Are there any discussions or questions on the bill as amended? Chairman Emmerich? Representative Armanini?
Yes, my question, Chair Daly, would be, of course, we have DCED working with Ireland. So we're moving forward with this because our neighboring states are, and it will give Pennsylvania more of a voice with Ireland for bringing in trade and improving relations. But aren't we already doing this already with DECD?
DCED definitely has a presence, but we looked at this as something that would really strengthen the ties between Ireland, the entire Ireland, and Pennsylvania. We have a lot of Pennsylvania residents, and I think that this just offers an additional opportunities to say Pennsylvania's all in with its relationship with Ireland. So they're two different things, but they're all, focused on the building that relationship and maintaining it.
So with improving relations with Ireland, in all honesty, myself and Representative Cerisi should form a bill for Italy because we have a great relationship with that country also, and we have a lot of people in Pennsylvania who come from the Italian descendants. And is this just going to snowball? Do we really need this, or are we going to have a commission for every country, throughout the world?
So I don't have the background to answer that question in any kind of way. I'm here pitching for this as an Irish and Pennsylvania Trade Commission. I think that, so I can't really answer your question whether it will snowball. I think that's up to probably Italy and people of Italian descent.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Representative Gatos?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, I am wholly supportive of international trade, and we do, from me coming from the tech sector, Ireland has a fabulous community for technology, and I know that the chambers have been working with them. I'm still not really clear on what this commission would do and why government involvement is needed if the chambers, as you say, are already doing this, and there's already different trade missions, and what exactly is the partnership with DCED, and what will this do that DCED can't? But on top of that, why is there something we can do to help DCED be more robust that doesn't involve establishing an entire new commission, which of course, will end up costing taxpayers more?
This should not cost taxpayers more, quite honestly.
Should not or will not?
It will not. I mean, there's no funding that is being requested for this. And so it would be, if there were fundraising, it would be, actually, we work with DCED on the language in the bill to relate it to fundraising. So, but there are no tax dollars being put towards this at all.
Then I'm not sure I understand why there needs to be any kind of official government commission, because don't these commissions, like the chambers, already work in conjunction with DCED? I know, coming from the tech space, that I was involved with, both the Irish commissions and as well as the American-Israeli commissions, as well as, there's Scottish, English. I mean, there's all these commissions. And I guess I'm still kind of confused on what exactly the role would be if you're already going to do fundraising, it's not going to cost taxpayers money. What is the
So-
need for doing then a piece of legislation?
So one of the things that was really emphasized was the relationships with the academic organizations, and the Irish folks actually really want to build those relationships to be as strong as they possibly can be and have representatives from those educational institutions to be part of the commission. So it would be education and commerce. And I think that we were approached by a senator in the Irish government to do this. And we've been in regular conversations with them, mostly though focused on, can we get this passed and will we get it passed? But they're really interested in building relationships with the United States. And so that's why they've been reaching out, I think, with these American Irish caucuses to really build the relationship so that we have a better understanding in this country about what's happening over in that country. They have been inviting legislators to visit Ireland. There was a visit last year where there were over 200 legislators from all the different states, there to really get more educated on it. So I think it's just a matter of educating legislators what the situations are over there and really building relationships in all kinds of ways. So I'm not saying that we're replacing DCED, because clearly we're interested in working with them, and they have been supportive of this because it gives another way of building relationships.
But isn't that what DCD is supposed to be doing, and why do we need separate legislation? I'm still not clear on your answer on that. Like, is there specific tasks this entity will do? I'm just really lost on understanding why we need to have government involved in this, because private sector is pretty robust in creating these relationships.
So, okay, this is a relationship that we would also be building with companies, the Irish companies that are in the United States, and also the ones that are interested. So we've gotten support from the Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce and from we got it from the Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce that's related to the Irish. So the ambassador from Ireland is very interested in seeing us do this. So we've gotten a lot of support, and I've not done this before, so I'm believing that once we establish it, we will be able to continue to build a very strong relationship, because as representatives, we all represent, across the state, so we have lots of input that we can provide.
I guess I'm still lost on what this is.
I appreciate the representative's questions, but I apologize. I believe she's done a very good job of answering to build relationships, and I understand that Representative Gent's understanding of that. So if it's okay with Representative Gentz, I think I'm sorry. If we could just move on to the next question.
Thank you.
Chairman Emmerich? Oh, sorry. Representative Sharon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair Daley, so in answering Representative Gato's question, you had said several states are engaged in this program already, and close to 100 state representatives all across have visited Ireland. I'm reading the text of the bill, so it says that the general fund has been established for the PA Ireland Trade Commission account. Granted, it says to accept money, gifts, grants. With that being said, and with the state officials that you said have already visited Ireland, this bill is not to cost the state of Pennsylvania any money. So are you telling me that these trips to Ireland, every state official is going to pay their own way?
I appreciate that question, but I believe that it's not part of the bill at this time. And those are questions that I believe that could be addressed for an amendment process if the representative so wishes to, when it gets to the floor.
I could just add that I paid my own way to Ireland, and I think that the other folks did also, because I don't really think it's the state's business to support that kind of trip, even though it was educational for me, but, and I'm pretty sure that the others who went there from Pennsylvania also, did it the same way I did. But you'd have to ask them.
Thank you, Representative. Any other questions before we move to the chairman? Seeing no other questions, Chairman Emmerich?
Thank you, Chairman. I too, the question's been asked numerous times, and I don't think I understand the answer either as to what is different from what DCED's Office of International Trade is doing, which is also very active. We have members on the committee who've had large groups with the Office of International Trade in their districts looking at business and promoting trade. I'm just struggling to understand what this bill is seeking to accomplish as far as what's different than is already being done. That's one concern. My second concern is what Representative Shuren just mentioned. I think it needs to be, there needs to be an amendment filed at a minimum that states no tax dollars will be used to pay for trips to Ireland or other things that many could perceive as recreational vacation. And so I think it's a concern that many of our members have. I think it's something that we should consider as an amendment, among other things. I support economic growth. I support expanding trade. I will hesitantly support the bill in committee with the hopes of working with the prime sponsors to kind of address some of our concerns and move forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. And in closing, I want to thank Representative Daley for bringing it forward. As we all know, outside of a couple religious holidays, there is no greater holiday than March the 17th, where everybody wants to be Irish. And I think with the joy that date gives us alone, and what St. Patrick's has done for the snakes in Ireland, I believe that this is a great bill moving forward, and I believe it can show that Ireland, being Irish, is more than just one day a year. With that,
Thank you.
we have a roll call vote.
Yes. Yes, by designation. Yes, by designation.
No.
No.
Yes, by designation.
Yes. Yes, by designation.
Yes.
Yes, by designation. 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 And yes, by designation. Thank you. May I have a motion to call up the Hogan Bill, HB 2064? Brought up by Representative Kephart, seconded by Chairman Emmerich. With that, we do have an amendment number A04475 by Monroe. May I have a motion to bring up the amendment? Brought up, the amendment brought forward by Chairman Emmerich, seconded by Representative Warren. With that, may we have a brief description of the amendment?
Should I explain the bill first, maybe?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, House Bill 2064 amends the Older Adult Protective Services Act by providing for the reporting and prevention of older adult financial exploitation. Under the bill, a representative of a financial institution who has cause to believe that an exploitation has occurred may report information to the department, which would be the Department of Aging, or law enforcement. At the time the report is made, a representative may provide information regarding the incident to a person who is reasonably associated with the adult that may be being exploited unless they have reason to believe that that person is involved. The bill provides for a model training program as written. If a financial institution has the right to refuse to disperse any money from the account during the exploitation and the investigation. They can refuse the funds if the Area Agency on Aging or law enforcement also requests this. That's a pretty quick summary, but it goes into a lot more detail if anyone needs anything.
And did you wrap the amendment into that,
I
Jen?
did not.
Could,
The amendment is A04475. It removes the model training program, which I had briefly talked about, and adjusts some of the timelines in the bill.
thank you, Jen. With that, do we need a roll call? Or are there any negative votes? Thank you. For those of you that's wondering going on, I lost my safety shield off my microphone. I'm afraid I might hurt myself if I'm not careful. Are there any negative votes on the amendment? Seeing no negative votes, the amendment passes unanimously. May I have a motion to bring up the Hogan Bill HB 2064 as amended? Chairman Emmerich brings it up, seconded by Representative Kephart. With that, if we could have Representative Hogan come forward. Good morning, Representative Hogan.
This thing's on. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about this bill. A big issue I think all of our constituents have dealt with at some point now is hearing about fraud, scams, and financial exploitation in one way or the other. This bill seeks to address a couple of ways and put some guardrails on that process while protecting older Americans and making sure that their hard-earned money stays in their accounts. And just by way of background, we've been talking about this issue a lot back in my district, hearing a lot from my senior citizens, and recently had a hearing in the district where a representative from Penn Community Bank, which is a Bucks County-based financial institution, testified that tens of thousands of dollars every single week were being wired or misused by residents of Bucks County, and they were going to foreign entities, they were going to criminal enterprises. And this, along with also protecting seniors from trusted, supposed trusted individuals or loved ones or fiduciaries that are slowly draining bank accounts, would also help them with this legislation. But specifically, there are 4 provisions that I'm just going to read from very quickly here that this legislation as amended would do. The first is establishing a clear legal framework whereby banks, credit unions, and fiduciaries can report and cooperate with state authorities. Second is it permits notices to trusted contacts. This bill allows an institution to notify a family member or other trusted individual to assist in avoiding the exploitation and providing moral support during the situation. Third provision is suspending suspicious transactions. It permits the refusal of suspicious transactions to allow for protective service investigations and before the disbursement occurs, which as in most cases, once the money is wired, it cannot be recovered. And finally, it engages in legal proceedings. So the financial institution can engage in legal proceedings for prolonged and complicated fraud cases in which a court order or direction is needed to safeguard an older adult's assets. Mr. Chairman, as I said earlier, this is guide rails, and what we can do a lot of in this sphere is education, and we can try to raise awareness about these scams and these frauds, but we also have an opportunity here as legislators to provide some sort of protection as well. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak on this legislation. I look forward to working with anybody else to protect older Americans, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Representative Hogan. And I'd like to announce that Representative Twardzik has come into the meeting himself. Are there any questions or comments on the bill as amended? Representative Rabb?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the maker of the bill for this. I'm curious, Who are the organizations that are mindful and concerned around elders? So, for instance, in the Philadelphia County, there's Community Legal Services, Senior Law Center, et cetera. Where have they weighed in on this, and have you worked with folks who are who help seniors or consumer protection organizations?
So AARP has been part of the conversation. They've released a letter with some of the concerns that I've reached out and willing to work with them, assuming this bill makes it to the House floor, to see if we can address some of those concerns. But we've had, like, again, personally, had a lot of different conversations with people in the consumer fraud space. Our Attorney General, Bucks County's District Attorney as well, has made a note about this. Law enforcement in Bucks County have also talked about the importance of these types of protections.
Have you worked with either of those organizations I mentioned, Community Legal Services or Senior Law Center?
I have not specifically.
Okay. And what happens, is there a chance that any of money that has been identified as perhaps being compromised or potential financial exploitation, that banks get to keep any of the money?
No.
And I guess I'm curious, how does law enforcement weigh in through this legislation? Is it just, what is the standard by which they perceive malfeasance or any other kind of suspicious activity that could get the ball rolling in this context?
I believe it's more of the financial institutions or the fiduciaries can report suspected fraud or suspected instances of criminal activity, and then the standard police investigation or district attorney investigation would then step in and see, is there a viable claim? Is there something there before the investigation occurs? This is just, again, mostly providing the clarity and the framework for these organizations to be able to actually report this information to the proper authorities, whether they are law enforcement or whether there's some sort of caseworker working with area agencies on aging or other sorts of organizations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Rabb. Representative Monroe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I, too, want to thank the maker of the bill, and I also want to thank Representative Fleming. So I want to give a little bit of history, actually, on kind of, I think, how we got here. I know Representative Hogan got here on a track. I know they were working on a bill with Representative Fleming, and it turns out I had a personal experience with this with my mother some time ago. I forget how many months ago it was. Essentially, she was, about 2 years, she was being defrauded. And the bank that she was using at the time was fully aware of it. And one phone call would have put a stop to it. One phone call to law enforcement, to the area of aging, hopefully to me, and we would have saved her tens of thousands of dollars. So we started working on a bill, and it just turns out that we had a very similar idea, similar pieces of legislation, and I'm glad to see, because ultimately it's not a matter of whose name is on the legislation, it's the legislation. And I would also like to point that for 14 years, this legislation, similar legislation like this, has died a slow death of perfection, meaning that just the continuous attempt to get the perfect language has caused inaction. And every day, seniors are being defrauded. And we have to ask ourselves, when is enough, and when are we going to take action to finally bring those protections? So, again, thank you very much to Representative Hogan and Representative Fleming, who's not here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any other comments before Chairman Emmerich? Seeing none? What? Sapita Ortiz?
Hi, thank you. So I had members of my community who, from the Area Agency on Aging, who had concerns with the bills and why this bill wasn't referred to Aging and Older Adult Services Committee.
I cannot speak to that.
Okay. Yeah, because then I just want to make sure that all agencies, organizations that work with our elderly that are part of this process, if possible.
I can't speak to how the bill was referred or to which committee. I mean, I have not had meetings with anybody from the area agencies on aging. This bill was introduced in February. I meet with everybody. I'd be happy to meet with them, but I have not had that conversation.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Thank you, Chairman. Just as a matter of note, the Speaker's office refers bills to the appropriate standing committees, so that's probably the best place to ask how it got to Commerce versus some other committee. But this is a great piece of legislation. One of the other communities that has worked very hard on this is the whole banking community, expressing their desire to have more influence over what they see as red flags and fraud taking place, and their inability to actually take action on it fast enough. So I think it's a great start. I think it's a great piece of legislation. I, like you, Representative Hogan, have helped or tried to help many constituents back home who have been defrauded in many different ways, and it is heartbreaking at times where people have lost most of their money and through the scams and things that take place. So anything we can do to help prevent that, anything we can do to give more teeth to our banking institutions, our financial institutions, and our law enforcement to be able to stop this, as Representative Monroe had mentioned as well, I think is a really good thing. So thank you for putting this together, and I look forward to supporting it.
Thank you, Chairman, and Representative, I want to thank you for bringing it forward. One of the reasons why this bill was brought to the committee, it's a consumer protection bill. That's one of the things we do in Commerce is to protect consumers. I've been in, we've been talking with the administration and other stakeholders, and although the bill's not perfect, we do believe that this is something that needs moved forward, and we'll be looking at amendments as it goes to the floor. With that, I have no further comments. Katie, could you please take a roll call?
Yes? Yes by designation? Yes by designation?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes by designation?
Yes.
Yes by designation? 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 Yes by designation. And for the final thing we need today will be Resolution 324 by Representative Mako. May I have someone may I ask for someone to bring the bill forward, the resolution forward? Representative Stambaugh, seconded by Representative Stender. Ms. Wheeler, could you please give us a brief description of the resolution?
House Resolution 324 designates February 11th through 17th as FBLE Week in Pennsylvania.
Any discussion or comments on the resolution? Seeing none, are there any negative votes? Seeing none, the resolution passes unanimously. We would like to thank the members for coming. Chairman, any wise words before we go out for the weekend? With that, we would like to adjourn today's meeting. Thank you all very much for coming.